So I want to give you a little bit of the history of the tax exemption so you understand, why are homeschool groups even having to be involved with the IRS? Now you're homeschool parents, so who is this? King George III. So obviously the first date having to do with tax exemption is 1776, our freedom from England. And there was a huge reluctance on the part of our founding fathers to adopt things that look like the monarchy. So they were very much in favor of charities and of the church and of people of faiths organizing and providing services like orphanages and hospitals and education that the monarchy used to. So it was a very different shift from the monarchy to our founding fathers, and that trickles down today. We see evidence of that in the separation of church and state and all that kind of stuff. 1993, what's significant about that date? 1913. Income tax, that's right. The United States instituted an income tax. Before that, it was tariffs and other kinds of taxation. That was the date of the income tax. And what gets complicated then is that basically the government has to look at these corporations or these organizations that were doing charitable work. Let's take a hospital or an orphanage or a school and say, gosh, you are doing things that the government would normally have to do. We're going to give you tax-free status. We're not going to tax you. So it's really also the establishment of tax-exempt organizations in our country. Not that long ago, if you think about it. Okay, 1927, very close to that for that other date. This was when donations to charitable organizations were tax deductible on the income tax return. Very important for 501c3 charities. So just a little bit of history of where we're coming from. And if you think about it, those are all pretty recent. The whole idea of this tax exempt status in the United States. And of course, not every country has tax-free status for charity or educational organizations like our homeschool groups are. Something I think it's a privilege. We need to keep it. We need to exercise it. So earlier this week, I was on the telephone with a homeschool group. They gathered their board and put me on speakerphone. And we're talking about whether they want to become a tax-exempt organization with the IRS. And everybody's on board except one gentleman. And I'm trying to convince him that this is actually a good thing. And it's a privilege to get tax-free status. We should take advantage of it when we're eligible. But basically, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the government or anything to do with the IRS. And I'm trying to give him my little spiel I just gave you guys. I actually at one point said, okay, I'm done preaching, because I'm trying. But I don't think I convinced him. But I think he ultimately said, well, okay, for the sake of the board, everybody else on the board is okay with it. So, but I understand the reluctance of many board members to want to get involved in something they don't want to get involved with. So I understand that. We could talk about that if you want to, a little bit more. But mostly I try to get them to see tax-exempt, tax-free status as a privilege. Let's use it. Let's take advantage of it. If we don't, it might go away. And every once in a while it gets threatened.